Yep. Should be up. Oh yeah, so I reached out to Brad and them too.
A tumor?
Yeah, so they gonna come through.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Where did they do theirs?
I'm gonna ask him. I was in a rush today, but while it was on my mind, I reached out to him.
Good call, man.
Yeah.
Brad's an entertaining guy.
No, it's like conversations with Brad.
Yeah,
like, it didn't surprise me seeing that he got over here, started doing something.
Yeah, definitely.
Podcast space.
He's one of those guys too. Like, you never know what he's doing. Like, he was telling me about these like government contracts he was securing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like he's just kind of one of those like dabble around and figure something out guys.
Yeah. True that. Did you find it?
I don't see it up yet.
Oh shit.
Well,
oh no. I see this. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going the long way.
I was gonna say it could have been on another channel, but we got it.
For whatever reason, like when I go on YouTube to like open anything, there's like a lag that drives me crazy.
Oh yeah.
I'm not like a really good patient guy. There it is. Oh Jesus!
Listen, man, I hit a bitch one time, man, the baby was bouncing all over the bed.
Cut through the texture of pasta, I stretch to the father. My demons can't be stressing my daughter. Sweat Benny Hanna, know it's a rap. Wet enchilada.
Deion Sanders is the greatest football player arguably to ever live. Ed Reed, the greatest safety arguably to ever live in the entire universe. All right? Why y'all not going on live? Miami been trashed for fucking how long now? God damn.
I like you got up some skates. I like you got up some skates. I like you got up some skates. I want somebody in the event, something like, say like, I love oxtail. If I can eat some that tastes like oxtails while I'm down there, just for that moment.
He's on my back, you know what I mean? And, I think, I feel like his thing is like on my neck.
I've had two guys.
Same time?
No, I'm not that girl.
Man.
The best
Appreciate
motherfucking podcast in Orlando, Florida.
You already know.
We
the
appreciate
Sunshine
it.
State, man.
Welcome back. You're back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Don't forget we're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. As always, we got a good show for you guys today. A little heavy on the sports side, but we got some other stuff too. But it's a lot of stuff going on. NFL is here, so we're going to preview two divisions, tell you what we like about that, argue about that. You got 49ers owner getting arrested and all that stuff for prostitution. We'll talk about that. The Cleveland Browns has made a quarterback decision. All right. All of that good stuff, man. SEC and Big Ten banning NFL players from returning to college. All of that stuff, man. I had two things. One, quickly, because we were talking about Brad Toomer, and they have a podcast that they do as well, and they'll be here next week. Nice. But one thing that ran through my mind is that I see a lot of, and this is tough because I don't want to be the next Stephen A., but you see a lot of women online, and one of their main comments about guys is like, and they need to just stop making podcasts. And every dude now wants to make a podcast. They need to make it more expensive to get equipment and stuff. We need more plumbers. We need more mechanics, not more podcasters from guys.
Yeah, we're happy to adjust your plumbing. Yeah.
Thankfully for me, I mean, I can hire a plumber if ever I need one. And what's because I almost just wanted to save this for when Brad comes on and them just to have something to talk about. We could bring it back up again.
Yeah.
Because one of my main things is any lane that you go in is going to be crowded. It's going to be a lot a lot of people doing whatever that you want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. It's not right for me to say, damn, every black girl in the hood does hair. You don't want to do nothing different. You know what I mean? Da, 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 da. It's like, if that's something that you want to do and that you like to do, who gives a shit?
But let's not forget. I mean, there's plenty of women in the podcast space too.
Yeah, I come across.
There's a
them
ton,
too. But maybe it's okay for them, but guys need to be
Of course.
somewhere getting their hands dirty.
Bubba, you're a double standards guy on one side, they're double standard on the other. I mean, it is what it is. This is low hanging fruit, but like, I just don't think they're consistent enough. Like, they'll start a podcast and probably drifts off, and like, we've been at it for multiple years. It's like,
yes, that's another thing
they'll lose
too.
energy on doing it or pivot to just something else. So
Yeah,
I don't think you have the kind of the entrenched consistency.
Yeah,
for a lot of the women, but there are a lot of
people
women
in general too.
Yeah,
people
for
in
sure.
general. A lot of people start the podcast, and it just fades away. We have tried to be the modicum of consistency.
Indeed.
You know?
And I do think though, like when where you started with, like, like no matter what you're doing, it is going to most likely be a crowded space unless you're like literally inventing something new. Yeah. But it kind of comes down to like your personal, passion for it, your drive, your consistency. If you add those things together, it'll probably work out for you. Yeah. And whether that's podcasting or whatever, doing hair, doing business, it just is what it is. It's like a lot of people are going to try. A lot of people will kind of toy with it, but eventually the cream rises, and it's just if you're not part of the cream, it just wasn't meant to be for you.
Yeah, and more than anything, it's just something that we like to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I walk through life most of the times. I keep most of my thoughts in my head, and that's why I've said it a couple of times here on the show. It's like, people that know me, they just can't believe, they still can't believe that I have a podcast and it's been going this long, because I really don't talk much. You know what I mean? Like, when I go out to places, I just don't talk.
That's fun. I've had people that I know better than you who've met you.
Yeah.
And their takeaway is always kind of like, yeah, it's quieter than I thought he was going to be.
Because I keep my thoughts in my
expected something
head.
more.
And I let it out here. This is my space to let it all out.
This is why neither one of us have a therapist.
There's no need.
Yeah.
This is my therapy. Really quick here, another thing that was on my mind is Rod Wave was on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay. It aired today, but who knows when he was actually on.
Yeah.
And I just thought this was one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
Really?
Now, it does help. What's funny is, people, especially people on social media, they know, like, I'm a Kodak fan and this and that, and Tim's, because I just don't think there is anybody that looks better than her on this planet. And Kodak is like a interesting character. I love his character along with his music. It's different. But if you were to go to like my Apple Music, which is what I use every day, like, there'll be more Rod Wave songs on there than anybody. Well, aside from Lil Wayne. And it'd be like second. And so I so that interests me anyway, just clicking on it, because I was like, wow, Rod Wave is on Shannon Sharpe's podcast.
Yeah.
But it was like 2 hours and a half long, maybe almost 3, something like that. It was a long interview. And it was just so effing good, man, from everything, from talking about his life experience of growing up. His father and his uncle was in the streets a lot. You know what I'm saying? His father's still in his life. His uncle passed. But like his dad telling him, saying, hey, I don't want you in the streets. You don't need to be doing this. That's my life. And Rod Wave has a famous line. One of his best bars ever was that got a lot of attention was, Young Jeezy told us to trap or die, but he told his kid to go to college. Like, that was a big line that really got out. And he broke that down and said, well, really, that was my dad telling me that.
Right.
He was like, man, and actually at the time, my dad had a trap or die shirt on. That's how committed he was. And he was telling me, like, Young Jeezy told me to trap or die. But he told his son, he was pointing at Rod Wave, to go to college. Yeah. And then going through talking about music. What I liked also is that he referenced this Orlando rapper named Moot Boy, who I think is the best rapper in Orlando history.
But like you don't like rappers who make it in Florida. If you're not signed to them, they don't mention you. They don't talk about you. They don't reach down to help you or nothing.
Yeah.
And so to see him do that Rod Wave is like this mega fucking star. And also he's talking about the business side, talking about, because now he's like one of the biggest people in like managing tours. Like he just did a huge tour for Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's managing tours that he's not on
yeah,
as an artist. Okay.
Yeah. And he also has a sports agency, and just talking about all this business. And then I'm just sprinting through these different things that he talked about. I liked how he talked about they asked him, because him and Boosie got into it. He used a few lyrics from a Boosie old song and put it out. Boosie sued him for copyright infringement or whatever. And he was like, he was like, that soured him. Now he doesn't fuck with any old dudes in the rap game, like because they all they say something but they mean something different. And Rod was like, I was just doing that to pay homage and show love and this and that, but he made it into something totally different. And he was like, that's somebody I looked up to when I was growing up. And then when you like they say like never meet your heroes, because the guys really not are what they appear to be. And I remember,
or what you build them up to be.
Or what you build
mind.
them up to be.
Yeah.
And I remember Kodak got into it with Boosie and Master P, and I felt like he was in the right too versus those two guys. But just all of that stuff, man, I really enjoyed it, man.
That's interesting that experience would just basically kind of sour him and just make him want to just stay away from that whole area.
Yeah, for real. Because he was like, just a lot of the older guys, he used the term in the way. They just in the way. But a lot of them, they're trying to hold on and preserve what they feel to be still like some type of stardom. And they feel like the newer guys are pushing them out. And, and really it's room and space for everybody. And so they just, that's the way they operate.
But they operate from like a closed mind perspective and a protective thing. As you're telling the story, I was like, I'm just wondering, like, maybe Boosie's money's not where he wants it to be, or whatever, or he's not seeing like a lot of possibilities for that, and now he's becoming like overprotective of anything he can get his hands on.
That's possible and could be, but that's not how he talks. That when he's he's still talking about how much money he has and stuff like that.
Well, of course, well, think about like those Tate brothers that just got arrested. Andrew Tate. Yeah. Like in court documents, they had to say, "Oh, well, we just rented all this stuff. We don't own all these fancy cars." So there's a big like investment in appearing to be wealthier than you are when you're trying to operate in that space of sort of celebrity and whatever. And again, like if you're Boosie, you're not dropping a ton of new music. Your one thing is to kind of just stay relevant in kind of a celebrity way. But again, like to me, if you're a bigger picture and somebody puts something you did into a song, like behind the scenes you want to get paid, but like don't fight it, because it does. That stuff brings you back around. If that happens, and maybe you end up doing a big show where you appear, and you can use the juice a different way, in a positive way, rather than it being like two dudes suing each other and haggling it out with a bunch of dudes wearing suits, man.
Yeah. Look. Fast forward a couple of years later, Rod Wave could have put you on a tour,
right? Exactly.
When you're struggling to get $50,000 shows, you know what I mean, or whatever the prices are now.
For sure.
But yeah, and then lastly, just on Shannon Sharpe, because there was a lot of just it was so many comments that Shannon Sharpe felt like he had to address it about him saying that he overtalks people when in the interviews and even on the podcast with Ocho Cinco and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so he actually addressed that on one of his shows, and I can see it on this interview, like him fighting it, but he's allowing Rod to talk.
So doing a better job of it.
Doing a much better job. Better job.
Yeah.
And Rod is kind of an easy person to overtalk, because he is a little more quiet and reserved. You have to get him going.
Right.
And so, he finally got him going, and that was good. So I just 10-star interview.
10 stars.
10 stars.
I was going to go football, but really quick, there's been some breaking news here in the NBA. So Jonathan Kuminga signs with the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's a surprising move to me.
Yeah.
2 years, $13 million. Okay, he's going to join, of course, LaMelo and Ant-Man, Jaden McDaniels, all of those guys, and fight for a starting spot. And there was 3 other teams in this sweepstakes that he chose over, essentially. So he chose the Timberwolves over the Lakers, Bulls, and Blazers. Those are the 3 teams that had offers on the table. Now, Sham says that Kuminga preferred a shorter term deal. The Lakers, Bulls, and Blazers were giving him, I guess, an extra year or 2.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing to me is he got caught up, in I'm going to turn down money because I think I'm good enough to for X dollar. So the highest deal he turned down was the Golden State's most last offer to him was 3 years, $75 million. Okay, again, he just
now he's 2 for 13.
Now he's 2 for 13.
Left $62 million on the table.
And that's rough. And now what you have to do is, and at the time we were like, okay, this is a young player. He's really athletic. He's shown some flashes. What is going on with Steve Kerr and this, and so finally he departs from there, and we're like, okay, this is Jonathan Kuminga's time, and he bounces around to what? Two different
two?
teams?
I thought he was with the Hawks.
It's with the Hawks.
And he played with somebody else?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he played with somebody else too. Yeah. But definitely I remember the Hawks run, and then they let him go. And that's a young team. He fits that timeline.
Yeah, to me the takeaway, like, again, you summarize the words. Like, this is a talented, athletic guy, drafted high in the draft. He, on some level, you could say, well, he probably didn't get a fair shake with all the veterans, and then clearly near the end, something between him and Kerr was going on.
Just the Hawks.
Yeah. And so he did not, you could easily say, I'm going to bet on myself because I'm a talented guy who never got the opportunities I earned in Golden State. But then you go to the Hawks, and you don't perform well enough that they're really interested in keeping you. And then you put yourself in the market and you attract a 2 for 13 deal. Like, this is betting on yourself gone bad.
Yeah.
I mean, this, $62 million you're not going to get back. And again, he really doesn't have much of an option, assuming like the Lakers deals were maybe 3 for 20 or 22, 24.
They were all pretty.
Like, in that, at the end of the day, that's not great money in the NBA. And you're betting on yourself to go to this team and make enough difference that you're going to be in 2 years in line for another, a bigger contract, a good deal, which would really represent what should be the prime of your career. But the opposite side of this is you are a diminished asset. If we're only $13 million invested in you over 2 seasons, you're disposable. You're a trade part in the next trade we want to make.
An awesome trade piece.
And you are most likely closer to being out of the league than you are getting another big contract. When you're in the position that you're going to, Minnesota, $6.5 million a year. You're just you're nothing.
Yeah.
And the idea that you're going to go there with Ant, LaMelo, and these other guys, and you're going to get enough touches to show out and put up big numbers.
Good luck.
Yeah, enjoy your cardio.
Good luck. And because if I'm Jaden McDaniels, I'm not sure I love this move.
No.
Because, Kuminga, he's coming in for something to prove. He wants a bigger deal, this, and that. Now, Jaden just got a good contract and all that stuff, but what I'm saying is he's coming into his role. He was leading that team in the playoffs just now when Anthony Edwards was out, in and out, whatever, with injuries. Jaden McDaniels was his show, and he played well, two-way dynamo.
But I think
and that's Kuminga's kind of.
But and here's what I think, with that level of investment, you're nothing. McDaniels is still their guy.
Yeah, he's the
and the money's telling you that.
Yeah.
Because we already invested this in him. We're investing nothing in you.
Yeah.
It's like you either come in here and help us, or we'll trade you out or relegate you to a deep bench role. this is not a good situation.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't really like that, that this was the best opportunity for him, because I don't see a great, because again, you got Melo, you got Ant, you got McDaniels all in those bottom wing spots. Rudy's Rudy. The best possible thing is that somehow he fits into like a downsized lineup that works for them.
Well, he's been a stretch 4, if you will. Not so much stretch, but just a movable 4. So I could see him coming in and fighting for that power forward position and being okay. And then Jay McDaniels and Melo. I could see that. But again, he's not like a body he's not a bigger body that's going to bang. No. So it's going to be a lot of pressure on Rudy. And Rudy did well last season with the pressure that was on him then, but this is a different kind of pressure on him now because he doesn't have, he had bigs out the yang last year. Now he's the only big. And I want to know how he what happens with that. Like if Rudy gets in foul trouble, if he gets hurt or something, that team looks drastically different.
And Kuminga,
size in the West.
Kuminga, when he's been at his best, it's usually been kind of scoring. Yeah, not doing the little things and
that teams want him to do.
Right. I think that this is a desperate fit and a low dollar, and a desperate fit for Kuminga and a low dollar, low risk move for Minnesota.
I think the Lakers were a better move for him. I think so. Because they really, could use an athletic forward. He'll fit in there. And, I understand that you have Luka and Austin and you have to play off of that. They're going to have the ball. Yeah. But, so is Ant and Melo. Yeah. But there's just a bigger role for you on the Lakers.
And I think Luka is better at figuring out how to use a complementary piece than Ant or Melo are. Yeah. If Kuminga can fashion himself as like a cutter or like a transition guy, like Luka will figure it out pretty quick and he'll maximize whatever that is. Yeah. I don't think you're going to have the same with Ant and Melo. I just think that they're not that kind of team oriented that they'll figure out, we can, Kuminga does this well. Let's make sure we get him looks. Yeah. Doing that.
We got it's a funny thing because Minnesota Timberwolves are a fan favorite team. And a lot of analysts are, questioning if this can work. And so it's going to be like a head-on collision to see who's right because the fans are like, how can this not? They have a prototypical point guard who can score and everything, and Melo, and you got Ant-Man who's the next Jordan, and you got Rudy who's 4-time defensive. How do you guys not like this? They're going to be great and awesome.
I just think that's the voice of the idiot. I do. You're not really
That's
thinking
what they're
this.
saying, man.
I know that's what they're saying. I mean, idiots outnumber reasonable men all day, every day, in every location. But what the idiot says doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just stupid fodder that, it is. When the Wolves are struggling, they're going to just be, whatever.
I would be fucking shocked that this team made it to the Western Conference Finals. A place that they've been in. Before
for sure. No, moves. I mean, I believe there's enough there to be a playoff team. Yeah. But I don't, I'm with you. If they're making the conference final, I'm shocked. If they did anything more than that, I might pass away.
No, seriously, man. Yeah. Seriously. Okay, let's get to some football. You're still on the bench podcast with Bubba and Ping. My dad called. Apparently, he doesn't know I'm doing a podcast.
He's been doing it for years. He doesn't know.
I put it on his phone and everything.
Okay,
so we do have a subscriber.
As a calendar event?
No.
That'd be awesome.
He watches a lot of boxing on YouTube, a lot of old boxing.
Who's his favorite old fighters?
Man, he has a ton. He's a real deal boxing fan.
So him and young Mike Tyson.
I just watching
old films together. Because that was Tyson's thing early in his career.
Yeah, I remember
he would know all the historical
old fighters. Yeah. I remember him saying something about Jack and all of that. So yeah. Yes, let's go over here to football now. There's quite a few hot topics. This one here is pretty hot here. So of course. LSU and Lane Kiffin went out, got the tight end. Apparently they got two of these guys, but the tight end that was in the NFL just now. Where was he at?
Cleveland.
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns cut him. I'm not sure if the Cleveland Browns cut you if you're good enough to play SEC football. I'm not
That
sure.
does raise the question
But,
because it's like if you are brought into the NFL and you're not making it out of camp healthy,
Yeah.
like that's kind of saying you're not that great.
And this ain't even the last cut.
If you're the rest of the SEC, are we that worried about this guy playing tight end for LSU?
They have another round or two of cuts to go. You didn't even make the final rounds. But anyway, the Big Ten comes out.
But
go first.
the one caveat I would say, and I don't, and obviously it backfired badly, but I don't know if was there some dialogue that like recognizing, hey, you might make this roster, but you're certainly on the fringe, and if you have an opportunity to play in college this next year and make some money, that might be the safest route for you.
Oh, that could have been a conversation had with the Browns.
With the Browns,
Yeah, because he could have been one of those guys who could have fought another week or so, and then the last cuts maybe got cut.
For
and
sure.
So
or maybe some scenario he does make
early.
the team.
Yeah.
But again, if that's the case, the college season would already have started, and it'd be harder to do that. So maybe there's a window.
To have now,
Sometimes they do that with like veteran guys who they're going to release, and they want to do it at a certain window of time so that they have a maximum opportunity to catch on with another team, rather than hold this guy in place until the very last cut.
No, 1,000%. And if the Browns did that, that's good. That's good business on them. But now, so
the big but.
No. I mean, I'm just saying.
No. I mean, where we're going to.
Yeah. So Lane Kiffin goes on Pat McAfee's show before any like official news comes out about the ban, and he was just talking about how, hey, like, I'm just doing what I need to do to win. Like, I don't necessarily fully agree with NFL players coming back and being able to play college football, but hey, if they're going to allow it, they're going to be on somebody's team. So why not be my team? And he has some exact quote about greatness, or you chasing greatness or something. And then like the day after or whatever, the SEC comes out, follows the Big Ten, and bans, this thing where NFL players can come back and play in college.
Yeah.
Now I wonder, and then the ban is a part of like, okay, and if you do, there's suspensions that could be fines and and all of that. Games redacted if you guys just fully ignore us. So I wonder, is that what is going to happen? Because the court said this can go down.
Yeah.
Now the SEC and Big Ten is saying no, you can't. So what happens, especially with this particular situation where they bring two guys?
This is the problem with modern college football, is the conferences are making these decisions, not necessarily the NCAA. And these guys are in a little bit of a different position because they were in NFL camps. Florida State's quarterback from last year, Tommy Castellanos, I don't think he made anybody's fall camp in the NFL. He fell under the same rule, and he's eligible to play, and he's apparently going to go to Texas Tech, and I don't think there's any pushback on that because he was not in a pro camp. He's not an NFL guy, so to speak. So there is a division here apparently between guys that have been in camp this year with NFL teams in the fall or summer, and guys that maybe just never got picked up and can benefit from that extra year of eligibility. But the conferences, the Big Ten says, we're not going to do this. The SEC follows suit. We don't know about like the Big 12 or any of these other smaller ACC, any of these other smaller conferences. Are they going to? My guess is they'll follow suit. But, one of them might look at it and say, we might get a competitive advantage. We might get another team in the playoffs if this goes our way. And these other two big dogs are going to lay off these kids, and maybe this helps one of our teams get over the hump. So, again, it's a crapshoot. I would imagine that there are discussions right now, but with those players that are impacted, can they go to a Texas Tech, a Clemson, a Miami, a Florida State, whatever the case might be, and is those conferences going to take any action on this? There's no unified like NCAA ruling that said this is our rule is, and this is how it affects these players. It's conference by conference. It's kind of like dominoes falling in line. Yeah. Now, as a Gator fan, I'm happy the SEC comes out and says this. Now we don't have to play LSU in the regular season or anything, but it's conference and all of that stuff. Now, and I don't share. But I want to go back to Lane Kiffin. Yeah, because I was going to say, because I don't share this commenter says Lane Kiffin might be the sleaziest coach to ever coach college football. This dude has no shame.
You know, I don't know. You know,
I do. I think he's a complete fuck bucket.
well, I'm talking about this situation.
Well,
Well, just
but, no,
overall.
but this, because think about it. Both of these guys were going to go to LSU.
Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is just a chronic asshole.
Yeah.
He's a talented football guy. He's won in different situations, but the reality is he's treated by many as like a football savant. He pushes any boundary he can. He makes situations ugly that don't need to be ugly. And as we're sitting here in this show today, he hasn't won shit.
Yeah.
He hasn't won a fucking thing. Yeah. Maybe a couple of egg bowls. That's it. So I mean, this guy is just, he is overhyped. But I kind of believe that, a little bit of how you do one thing is how you do everything. And like, I think he just conducts himself poorly. Like, I don't think he's a person that people trust. I think when push comes to shove, they know without a doubt that he's going to do what's best for him and anybody else be damned. And I definitely think that has an impact on the teams he coaches, the players he coaches.
Yeah.
I don't think that he has the same gravitas that that others do and have had. And you talk about like a Saban and some of these guys who have like, just a higher level code of conduct. They strive to have a deeper relationship with people.
Yeah.
And I just think that Lane, his whole career at every turn, it's been highlighted by essentially like a lack of trust, a just indifference to anybody around you.
I think his peers feel that way too. A lot of them.
I think everybody.
I think a lot of them, because I remember one of the first comments that the new Gators coach said was like, there was no way that I wasn't going to finish coaching my last team, before I came over to the Gators, if they would have me. I was in the trenches with the guys, da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, he wasn't asked. He went out of his way to implement that into his press conference. He was like, I know other guys are, they've been here for a few weeks now, and this.
Yeah.
He talked about Lane.
Yeah.
Direct shot, and and of course, there's been, whenever Lane has been in the news for not so good things, there's been other coaches too.
And put that in context. I mean, Summerall's team made the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And he quietly went about his business of securing the Gator job and getting agreement on both sides that here's how I'd like to finish this out. And Lane, in the exact same space, went like kind of squirrely on everybody.
Yeah.
He wasn't forthcoming with Ole Miss. I think if he was a different type of person, that there would have been a scenario that would have facilitated him coaching the playoff. Mm-hmm. But he's who he is. And even like, it just goes levels and levels. I mean, like he was in the mix for the Gator job. He ultimately picks LSU. And then there's that story that he held the announcement for that last weekend of games in the hopes that Alabama loses and that job becomes available.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's led everybody along the whole season. Yeah, I remember last year, because I work with some Gator guys, that when things were looking bad for Napier, season before last, that like Kiffin was the name then.
Yeah, he's the pipe dream.
And just is like, he might just be on the pipe.
He might be on the pipe.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a scumbag. It's, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously not an LSU fan. I could care less, but I mean, he's one of those guys. If he gets deep into the playoff, and I think Florida State's gonna be home in early November. But in any way, like if he gets deep into the playoff, and you're just like going to watch these games, it's like it's hard to think of a team, a coach, or scenario that I would actually want him to beat. Other than maybe Ohio State and Ryan Day. Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's not many matchups where I kind of hope LSU. I don't truly have a dog in the fight, but
yeah,
I'll adopt LSU for tonight. No, unless you're playing Ohio State or the fucking Trump administration.
Get all those guys some help, man.
Yeah.
We'll be rooting for you then.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, and that could possibly happen in a playoff scenario. You know, Ohio State is supposed to have another decent team.
Oh, both teams
They spend a lot of money.
Both teams are absolutely should be in the playoff.
They spend a lot of money.
It would be a stunning disappointment for either of those teams to not make the playoffs.
You know who's spending like a fuck ton of money in 2026, 7, and 8 is Texas Tech.
They spent it last year.
Last year too?
Oh,
Okay, I missed the year. But they have been going crazy. I know they got a lot of, what was that, oil money I think is over
it's
there?
all oil money.
But they've been utilizing it.
No, they've started that a long time ago.
Okay,
a couple years back. I mean, they do it to a degree in basketball, and then football they load it up. And what they did is when they were early to get the lay of the land and realized that, hey, these rules are opening up. And here's what here's what we can do.
Because they were limited under the old rules and stuff like that.
Well, I mean,
now
back when you were not paying people on above the board, yeah, they just were a non-entity. They were inconsequential. But then when they realized, hey, we're going to get to do this where we build these collectives and we can go sign players and kind of, now there's ostensibly some level of control. At the very beginning, there was none. Yeah. It was just like you had the collectives, they'd pour money in, they'd identify the players and offer the payment. Yeah. What has changed is the economics keep going up. You might have been able to throw $2 million at any player on the planet 2.5, 3 years ago, and you're going to get them. And now there's guys that are $5 million guys.
Yeah. They can match and top that.
Yeah. So now Texas A&M, Texas, all of those places got oil money, and plenty of it. And if those guys want to have a good football team, that's what they're going to have.
Yeah. No, 100%. Now this guy here, he's the 49ers owner, Jed York.
Yeah.
He contacted fictitious prostitution ad 3 times before arrest. Now I got some details if you don't know it, like the details of it, because it's interesting to me. All right. So basically,
anytime sex goes wrong is interesting.
Basically, a police officer was faking to be a prostitute on this app, this prostitution app. First of all, I didn't know prostitution apps.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's a straight prostitution.
It's an app for prostitution, and so a cop was faking to be one on here. So they having this whole conversation. This
think about this.
Yeah.
This is making it too easy for law enforcement.
Yeah, the app.
I mean, you have an app for prostitution. It's not like Tinder or one of these other things where you can kind of play it either way.
Right.
It's like you pretty much know it.
If you're on there, we know what you're looking for.
And guess what? You're not talking to a prostitute. You're talking to third-year Steve, fresh out of the academy.
Fresh out, man. And I'm sure that's who they stick on these cases too, until it's time to actually catch them, then or whatever. Yeah. But now this his name is Jed York, right? But he was going under Joe. That was his name on the app. He
Solid choice, average Joe.
No last name, just Joe. And
like a Brazilian soccer star.
And he's asking about the prices and everything. How much for this? How much for that? And they agreed on $140. Okay, that's what they agreed on.
And what services did that include?
I don't know. That's
from the buffet of services.
I think it's everything on the table.
Nah,
140. No, 140 is a lot for not only for prostitution, but for that tier. He's in the trenches. He's in the white trenches, I call it, which is. For us, it's the hood. For them, it's
the trailer park.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty ambitious.
That's a big night for a prostitute in a trailer park.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're still going to be limited to 2 holes.
Okay.
You think it's all 3?
I think it's everything on the table for 140.
Really?
For 140, yeah.
Well, more power to you.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
For all of my trailer park guys who needs this service as well, 140. That's a good amount. Now he was caught. Driving a rental car. and he had $160 in cash.
He had a tip ready.
Had a tip ready.
He was expecting a high-level performance.
This prostitute was going to have. This was a fucking. She hit the scratch-off ticket.
Me to the trailer park tonight.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Damn, she owns Tuesday night.
So he, he got to the spot, the mobile home, Wheat Hill Mobile Home Community is what it's called, in Ohio, and so he got there. As soon as he got there,
It's like they have an HOA. They're like, you have dishonored our community with your nefarious acts.
now they called him. He had to do 2 days in jail, and then he had to pay $1,100 in fines.
Yeah.
And the judge denied his request to have the record sealed.
Okay.
What do you think about that piece of it? That's interesting.
It's a little bit petty, but it's also a little bit irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, you have, like, essentially a national story of you getting caught with a prostitute. Like, what does sealing the record do at this point? Like, anybody with the internet knows that this happened or can easily find out.
Yeah.
You know, and again, you're a team owner. You're like, so it's like you're not just even a business owner. It's not like you're going to be applying for jobs and don't want somebody to pull this up. Like, there's almost no utility to sealing the record at this point.
Yeah. Now there are people in the sports world that just they want like people. They want outrage. They want something to happen to Jed York for this. They want justice. They want, and for me, I'm just like, it's he just wanted to pay to get some coochie. At the end of the day, he wanted to pay to get some coochie.
He actually just wanted some discount coochie.
Yeah.
Because if you think about any girl that he might have like just chatted up in his circle, like he's gonna spend more than $140 just for dinner or whatever. So like he just wanted some like, Dollar General coochie.
Yeah,
is what he was looking for.
Yeah, which is disgusting in itself, but it's it's him. That's what he wants. That's what he's into.
Yeah.
And for me, he's helping the community. He's you know what I mean? His community at that. He's whatever. So I can't be. I'm not upset about this. And plus, in addition to that, he's the fucking owner. He owns an NFL team. He's loaded. Like people got upset. People in the black community got upset with Shannon Sharpe. When he, with the young white girl there. She wasn't underage though, but she was a younger white girl that he caught having sex with or whatever. And she kind of strung him up for some money. But people in the community was upset because the dynamics are totally different. You were a worker working on ESPN. They can fire you. You are, you are the 1,000th black athlete to be caught in a situation with a white woman and lose. Like, do you look at news? Like the circumstance, everything is just different. You can, he lost a lot of advertisements at the time, all of that. For this guy, there's no real outrage to have because he's just paying for discount coochie and it doesn't hurt anybody and he can't hurt himself. So, unless he gets AIDS or something.
Here's the other level that distinguishes this as well. No actual coochie was purchased.
Yeah.
Nobody had to fuck him or suck him or do anything he wanted to do. Like this was all essentially like a setup.
Yeah.
So there's no victim.
Yeah.
You have the police operating under this prostitution website, luring dudes in and then arresting them when they pull up. Like nobody's been harmed.
Yeah.
It is what it is. He probably, except for the fine, he didn't even spend the $140.
Now I'm sure they'll say something like, but we know that he's into this and he's probably done this a bunch of times.
Sure.
Successfully.
Which that begs the question, like in other countries and other places in the world, prostitution is legal.
Yeah.
It's just a service that people provide and pay for. Not unlike dating, but a little twist. And then, and so like, there's not like, it's just simply not a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Some people may not agree with it and find it distasteful, but at the end of the day, it's not a horrifically thing. And when you don't actually have the consummation of the transaction, there is no victim. This is all just kind of a contrived thing, And then again, in that context, I mean, are you involved in the human trafficking thing where you're kidnapping people and forcing them into this line of endeavor? Are you abusing these people in the sexual act in some way? That's criminal activity. This guy just may be getting a 3-hole special. Why are we bothered?
Shouldn't be bothered. Now, CJ says, Bubba, what's the going rate then if 140 is high? It's a great question, my man. The going rate is about $100. But if you're in these type of areas, if you're deep in the hood or you're deep in the trailer parks, you're talking $50 to $70, man. You know what I mean? It matters. We have this thing at my job, right? Hold on, I'm finna explain that.
What does it matters mean?
It matters. We have this thing at my job. I'm a recruiter. I hire people, right? So, but all throughout the U.S., but they separate it by zones. A guy in Phoenix, right? They call that Zone C, or places small. Maybe not so much Phoenix, but places, small areas. I tried to pull one out of the hat just now, but they call that Zone C. So somebody in Alabama I can't pay him as much as the guy I pay in LA or Texas or whatever for doing the exact same job with the exact same title and job because they're there's zones, because people in your area don't pay guys like you that much. So my company is going to say, well, they're not paying these guys that much. We're going to pay these guys the same, and we're just going to operate business. And that's what it is in prostitution too.
Well, that's usually
if Joe in the trailer park 2 houses down, he only got $50. You haven't been turning him down for 20 years. That's the price.
I mean, in the context that you're talking to, I mean, there is a cost of living factors.
Cost of living,
and that's if you could, rent
COL.
an apartment for $800 in bumfuck Alabama, and the lowest you could get in Orlando is $1,400-$1,500. There has to be a thing about that.
Yeah, in Orlando, I'm sure the going rate is about 100, somewhere around there. So yeah, just to answer that, that was funny.
All right.
But yeah, man. But this guy, leave him alone, man. Just same with the Patriots owner. He was getting caught in
massage parlor,
right? But they had a different name for it because they call it something different.
Solicitation?
No. It wasn't massage parlors. It was a synonym for massage parlor, and that's what it was called. You don't know? Let me see here. What's his name again?
Robert Kraft.
Yeah. Robert Kraft was caught in where?
Handjob Hotel. CJ's revising his personal budget right now.
I know.
Carve out a couple $100 a month for entertainment.
Shit, they calling it a massage parlor here too. It'll come to me later.
I think
that's Google. No.
That's the traditional name.
Let me see other words for massage parlors.
Thesaurus time.
Brothel. I know it's the same thing, but that's what the story had when it first came out.
Brothel's like old school.
Yeah, well, he's old, so.
Yeah.
He probably told them, I was over at the brothel. Don't give me 20 years for that.
Have you ever been in one of those situations where an older person is dropping an older term and you and the other people in the conversation don't really know what it means?
My grandparents just do it all the time.
Yeah. He's throwing out a phrase. What do you mean?
Yeah, man. My granddad used to say, you ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. What are you talking about, man?
That's awesome.
So yeah. But okay. Let's go here next, right? Because we don't have to spend. We talked about the AFC North last week and Deshaun Watson, But after the show, the Cleveland Browns named Deshaun Watson as the starter. Now, Cleveland fans are outraged, and then of course people who support Deion and Shadur are outraged. Now, first I wanted to go to the Cleveland fans because I listen to a lot of Cleveland radio.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do for this type of topics, and then there's some good characters. So when the Cavaliers, I'll stick around for that too. Now, the radio hosts, the people who call in, Cleveland fans that I see online and stuff, they've never liked Deshaun. They didn't want them to sign Deshaun in the first place. Okay, then of course Deshaun comes and disses them a week or two ago and talked about, these are the same people who
clapped when I got hurt.
Clapped when I, got hurt, tore my ACL on the field. And all of that. So they have that tuck. My thing about the Cleveland Brown fans is this. It's like, I don't think you should have hated when you got him in the first place because of the off the field stuff. I just goes back to what we were just talking about with the Jet York thing. I don't think what Deshaun did was just inhumane. I just don't think so. I think he is a weird fetish, but as we're starting to see with a lot of these guys, in all these different industries, Diddy, all these guys, there's weird fetishes out there. And he's just one of the guys that had it. Now, that pass, he has been terrible since he's been with the Browns. So, I understand that. He hasn't lived up to the big contract, and fans, more than anybody knows, fans.
He hasn't lived up to a little contract.
Fans that we understand the salary cap stuff, and that's why I was so big on Ben and Michael and Tobias and all these guys. So we understand you take X amount of chunk of the salary cap. If you don't play up to this standard, then you're killing us right now.
Yeah.
And you're the reason why we've been trashed for 1,000 years. And so that part, I get it, okay? Now, but who saw that? Nobody saw that coming. Like, you gotta give your staff, your owner, you gotta give them a little grace, because
I don't know.
No.
Because we weren't thinking that was a great deal at the time.
Not a great deal, but I'm saying you haven't been a Deshaun guy, but I'm saying right. I thought he could come to Cleveland and play well, because he had played well in Houston. Now, what I think is happening, injuries aside, it's a mental thing. I really do, more than anything. Now, he's had some erode his, because of injuries and stuff like that a little bit. But he moves fine, he throws fine. It's mentally, man, and when they got him for that, when Houston, he feels like Houston did that to him because he wanted that contract at that time,
yeah,
and then he wanted to leave, and then the news came out. He feels like they had something to do with that, and so he's like, damn, this is this is what my heart has been these last 4 years, and then you get to Cleveland, and that's all you hear from the fan base. You better turn your Twitter and Instagram off. So you got that. So I mean, I don't know if you have anything to react to that or to react to Shadur losing out.
When you look at the context of why they acquired, I mean, to me, Browns fans have a ton of reasons to not like him.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not super huge on the morality card being the primary one, which is kind of what you're saying.
Exactly.
But by the time Cleveland paid him, signed that contract, it was a high-end contract at the time for a guy that even at his best was not like a top 5 quarterback for me. And then on top of that, by the time you're signing him, this other thing had already been percolating, and it was clear that some sort of suspension was coming down the pipe. So you're paying, at the time, top 5 quarterback money for a player who's not a top 5 quarterback, who has a suspension looming over his head, and you jettisoned a relatively popular guy in Baker unceremoniously. So I get why you're not well liked. Now you actually arrive, you sit out your suspension, and you have played poorly, and you've gotten hurt multiple times. And we're multi-years into you being around and giving us nothing, and now the organization's going to name you the starter in a season that nobody has particularly high hopes for.
Anyway,
why not be mad at him? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but I understand it on both sides. Like a lot, you know, that whole scandal breaking and the way he probably rightly felt that Houston, the owner or whatever, may have been involved in kind of fanning these flames. Yeah, there's a lot of resentment, I'm sure. There's a lot of mental things he's had to go for. But at the end of the day, you signed a contract to play football at a certain level, and you haven't done that.
Yeah, he has. It's funny I mentioned the 76 earlier, but he has that thing that Ben has. It makes it like you have things that happen, but everybody does. But they those two have things that have happened in their career where you can just look at objectively and say, "Damn, that's kind of fucked up that it happened." But at the same time, like you said, you signed up to play football. You know damn well it was the first or second ever fully guaranteed contract ever in the NFL. You know what's happening here. You're not dumb. So for you to not acknowledge, like, you know what, I fucking sucked here. You know what I mean? Like, I've been terrible. Yeah. And I understand the contract that I signed, and I understand, you know what I mean, whatever. And so this is why fans are booing. And like, instead of going that route, to take the route that you did, it's like you're ignoring the elephant in the room, so to speak, which is really your bad play. Because if you play better, it's going to be a lot of fans who forget.
Oh, I mean, rewind this to the contract. If he arrives in Cleveland, even rewind the suspension. If he arrives in Cleveland and has spent the last 3 seasons playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league,
they don't give a fuck.
Nobody cares about anything.
Yeah.
When are we going to extend you, sir? That's the reality.
That'll be the conversation.
You know, for sure. But when you are put yourself in a bad place and you've underperformed, have some humility, have a little vulnerability about that. Don't come off as whining, but acknowledge, I've played poorly. Yeah. And I've worked really hard since my last Achilles injury to be in a position to help the team. You know, not everybody, and not necessarily right when the words are saying it, but you open up a bridge to the fans and to the people around the club. And if you then kind of play at a good level, people, like, they support your narrative. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to kind of control the narrative around you as best you can. And, like, you know, when it's time to apologize, do it. When it's time to own a mistake, do it. Yeah. And it's all, you know, it all gets better if you play better. Yeah. You know, that's the trade-off. But in terms of this sports celebrity thing, you know, you can bounce back. I mean, there's a part of the American psyche that loves that. Like, that loves the high figure that falls down and comes back.
Comeback story.
They love it. You know, you look at go back to 1971 when Muhammad Ali got knocked down and lost to Joe Frazier. Yeah. He was a hated guy. Like, you know, he was this radical, you know, pro-black Muslim guy, and he got humbled. Yeah. He got beat. And he's been telling you, I can't be beat. And then he kind of comes back and he avenges those losses and he beats George Foreman. And it's like, then he becomes this, at the end of his career, this love figure.
Iconic figure.
You know, and like, it wasn't always that way. And, you know, just so many things. Like take a guy like Robert Downey Jr. And you know, he was a drug addict, you know, losing a promising career. He got his shit together.
Samuel L. Jackson, similar.
Became Iron Man, and everybody loves it.
Yeah. No. Yeah, people love a comeback story.
The pathway is there. You just got to follow the steps without fucking it up. But
now, you know, Deshaun is a guy that I don't mind seeing do well. I'm not going to say like I root for him or he's one of my guys or anything like that. I just don't mind seeing him doing good. You know, whatever. But I find it hard to believe he's going to like be the Cleveland Browns quarterback for 17 games. Right. I can't see an avenue for that happening. I don't mind if it did, but I don't see it. You know, what's funny is people look at the schedule and they're like, you know, well, about week 4, week 5, you know, this is a tough schedule, you know, but it's a tough schedule for all the bad teams. You know, all the bad teams you're going to look at and struggle to find some wins. So that's not how I operate when I look at the Cleveland Browns schedule. How I operate is literally wins and losses aside, because there's going to be a lot of losses no matter who's in there. You know, it's going to be like how he's playing,
And what we've seen in the preseason stuff, he had a okay first game, like, you know, just a bunch of dinks and dunks, and so, you know, he completed a bunch of passes. And then the second game, he was bad, just plainly bad. And if he's playing bad, I say a few weeks, 3-4, depending on when the bye week is, and I think we see Shedeur, man. And then also it's surprising, like the first 2 games are on the road, first 2 or 3 games are on the road. And so if he's, I think it's a possibility if he really stinks it up, he may could be on the bench by the time the first home game comes, just because of that whole friction.
I like what you're saying. I think it's very interesting because initially when we started this segment, I'm like, you're the Cleveland Browns. There's no high expectations on this football team at all this year. Why trot a guy out or make a decision that you know is going to be unpopular with your fan base? You literally run the risk of alienating your fan base with this decision. And you know they kind of have. Then you kind of peel this back a little further and go, we're going to start on the road. We won't be home for 3 weeks. If we start Shedeur, who it will be more popular if we do, people will be a little bit more excited, and we get, you know, railed for 3 weeks. Now we're going to be under pressure to do something, and all we have in our bag is the unpopular Deshaun Watson. Did they make this decision with the idea in mind that Shedeur's not great? We've seen him for over a year now, and we know he's not great. But with the start of the year the way it's set up, let's go ahead and throw Deshaun out to the Wolves. If we get off to the slow start we anticipate we're going, then we kind of have the candy of, oh, hey, Shedeur's coming week 4, week 5, whatever. And maybe we kind of regenerate something there.
Yeah.
But the reality is, whether you whatever prism you want to put this through, I think it's very clear that Deshaun is no longer a great quarterback and that Shedeur Sanders is nothing more than a marginal starter at best.
Yeah.
That he's not a guy that is performing at a level that gives the team a belief that they've got their next guy for the next 5, 6, 10 years.
I think that's what you can surmise. Now, and what I think is going to be the best thing for Shedeur is once he finally gets in there, he's going to get in there, is then he'll get to audition, because the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in 2027-28 season is not on this roster. So, you know, I think all of these guys are going to be gone. Maybe Gabriel could stick around for another year or two as a third quarterback or whatever. But these 2 guys are going to be gone. You know, Deshaun Watson's contract is up. And then for Shedeur, at that point, once they bring in the rookie quarterback, writing to be on the wall, he'll either be cut or traded. When you get in, it's an audition, and I think it's an audition for a backup quarterback role. I think that's what it's going to be.
Could be.
But it's a way to stay in the league. And there has been other, you know, reclamation projects, guys who have, you know, did the fringe starter backup for a few years and then come back as a starter and have some success. We've seen that.
I mean, you look primarily at Darnold and Baker.
Yeah.
But then the other side of that coin, you kind of look at Mariota and Jameis, who once they lost their starting jobs, and they started and did a lot more than Shedeur has.
Even if, yeah.
But once they lost those original jobs, neither one became a full-time starter again. You know, they had some starts here and there, but they never really became a full-time starter again. They've kind of bounced around in that backup QB market. And
two sides to every coin.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly Shedeur's not showing enough, and if he's not showing enough by the end of year 2, where does it go? I don't even think there's necessarily a trade market for him. I think he'd have to be waived, and then get an opportunity somewhere.
And that is not an incredible investment there, 5th round. So they can cut him with
with nothing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, like you look at the performance, it's been very mediocre, and again with a 5th round draft grade or draft status, like what do you trade him for?
And
Nobody's
that
going to give you a 3rd round pick, you know, and a player or any of that or higher.
No.
You know?
But if he plays well, that's where the possibility of a trade comes in. If he plays really well, a team would trade for him.
I think,
and possibly in the season.
Unfairly as it may be, I think he has to play like really
yeah.
like to make that like a trade thing.
Yeah.
And if he plays that well,
Browns might
then,
just fuck around and
why
keep
are the
him.
Browns desperate to get rid of him?
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of in a weird conundrum.
No, true that. So we'll see how they get off. I know they play the Bucks in week 1 or 2, play the Jags. Those are like the first 2 games. I know they'll be on the road, and that's not a murderous role for Deshaun. I mean, you know.
Oh, that's Carlton.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
How did you catch that?
He said, Brian, this is Carlton, by the way.
Oh. But yeah, so I to answer your question, I think what we're saying is, yeah, Shedeur should be starting over Deshaun at this point, and even as a, you know, small Deshaun supporter here, maybe the only one he has left.
One, be clear, one. No, I think
Shedeur.
take out agendas. I would favor starting Shedeur and just rolling with that.
And just rolling with that. Yeah. And it is going to happen. So whatever with that.
But that's another reason. Like, if it's gonna happen, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, don't get into playing all these games.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But for Shedeur fans, what I want them to realize is, if they start Shedeur first and he struggles, once he gets pulled from there, because you have the Deshaun thing, it's over.
Yeah,
that's really not what you want. I know you think you want, you know, Shedeur, name it now because he's the better quarterback, this and that. But if he gets in there and he struggles right away, and then he gets pulled because you have Deshaun right behind him, who they played even in camp. God, that's the worst case scenario.
That
for
is.
Shedeur.
At that point, you're like a used condom.
You know what I mean?
And Carlton knows all about those.
I'm glad I got that out because once he said that. Because man, and I don't think they're realizing that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. In other breaking news here, the NFL Pro Bowl. The NFL has decided to end the Pro Bowl.
Oh.
So the league will hand out yearly honors, but won't hold the All-Star game. I thought that this was interesting because the writing has been on the wall for
a while. Yeah, I mean, you basically went from football to flag football.
Yeah.
Other than this, there's nowhere else to go. What are we gonna do? You know. Nobody's cared about the Pro Bowl for a long time. I mean, nobody's probably cared about the Pro Bowl since Sean Taylor hit the punter.
Yeah.
On that play.
It was time. I think the only other thing they could have went to was back to like the really fun skills challenges, fastest man in the world, strongest, whatever. But then you're gonna have trouble getting these newer athletes to
do all that.
Yeah.
I agree
about the bag.
I agree. I guess my most recent memory of the Pro Bowl was Kobe dying. And I'm watching and I'm seeing stuff on like Twitter, and ESPN for a period of time is continuing to play the Pro Bowl. They haven't interrupted anything. And I was livid. I'm like, if this is true, if Kobe's dead, why the fuck are you guys showing the Pro Bowl?
No,
like,
100%.
You need to go to the studio.
100%.
We need whatever information is available.
Yeah.
And this is the only story that matters.
No, 100%. And you know ESPN would have gotten like confirmation before even
I would
TMZ
okay,
maybe.
so in 7 years in Germany, Bryson has probably called me on his own accord less than 10 times. One of those calls was Kobe.
Oh man.
So that tells you.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now, NFL has done this, the right move to make. Can you see the NBA doing this at some point?
Desperate times.
Has it gotten
desperate
that bad?
times call for desperate measures. It's infinitely more easier to play basketball.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have the physical harm that playing football is. You know, you can get away with playing basketball in a different manner. But the main thing why the All-Star game is a shit show is just the internal player culture of the league.
Yeah.
For me, that's it. It's you just don't have dudes that are inherently competitive. You have guys that have, kind of grown up in the game because it's been so bad for so long that this is all they know.
Yeah.
A guy like Ant, who's maybe a 4-time All-Star or whatever, like, he's only known it to be a joke game. Nobody playing now was involved in like the Allen Iverson Kobe game back in the day when it got going in the fourth quarter. That
Except
was
for
early
LeBron.
2000. Except for LeBron.
But Ant was to your point, because he was one of the ones saying like, yeah, this year is going to be different. We all going to play this. But you get in the game, I guess he can't help but because that's all he know is just to bullshit around, especially when the game starts and he 8 other people are bullshitting around. He's just like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's
That's
like,
what we on today.
You had Kawhi had a run in one of those games this year.
Just this past year.
Yeah. Where
just
he
this
kind
past
of
year.
he went on a run and looked good.
That's always fun.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
Wemby played fairly hard.
They've tried so many different things. I mean, I don't be honest with you, like Wemby might be the greatest hope of
The
this.
saving grace. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, if like a guy like him, if he decides we're gonna play this for real, and he gets enough guys to do it, the culture shifts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where that whole like agent of change is like somebody comes in and they're gonna operate at a level that's going to make everybody else fall in line.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, honestly, like I've probably overstated it, but I feel LeBron is personally responsible for a lot of this. Because I think he's taken the All-Star game, and again, he's been in so many, as just a non-event, a time to just.
I don't want to go that far.
I'm gonna go because
He's played. He's played with some good energy in these All-Star games.
we can. I mean, we can explain that he personally wasn't that bad. We can explain that it's not all on him, but for the bulk of this last 20 years, he's been that guy, or one or two or three of them that set the tone for everything that follows, and he hasn't demanded a competitive tone, and people have fallen in line.
Right.
I mean, for better or not, as great as he is, and he's phenomenal, and for that very reason, when he steps on the floor in an All-Star game, everybody reads him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, what are we doing? Like, and it's like you watch LeBron, and at any given other time, a couple other guys, Kobe when he was around, and like, how are they taking this? And you just follow suit to that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And so like, he's, and again, he has every reason to not care. Like, there's no incentive for him to do this other than to just sort of preserve this weird competitive culture. But he's not a maniacal competitive guy as others have been.
Especially not in that All-Star setting.
Well, certain, but he's not. He is a benevolent king. He's not a malevolent one. He's not a hyper-competitive guy like that. He enjoys playing. He's hugely talented.
I don't think that's the right word you're using. I don't think competitive is the right word.
He's just not an ultra competitor for me.
I understand people who are saying he's not like an ultra killer or something like that.
That's what it is. That's what you're saying.
Nah, it's not what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Because that's not what I'm saying. That's not. I disagree there.
Okay.
I disagree because it's only one avenue to get to where LeBron is at, and that is by ultra competitiveness. You know what I mean? Now there's the killer instinct thing that people talk about and stuff like that. I put that in a separate boat than ultra competitiveness. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the way. That is the way to eat your food or whatever. You know what I mean? He's using a fork. His other guy uses a spoon, but the food still is getting ate. Like you gotta be. He's like
I'm referring to that other box. I'm referring to the other box you're talking about. Like there are certain people that have come through this, basketball, other sports. They are maniacally competitive. It's almost like a compulsion or an addiction. I don't put that in LeBron's category.
But also that's a personality trait.
Sure.
That's like something that you're like born with, or not born with. But I do not believe that it attributes to like how good someone is, which I'm not saying that you're assigning that, but a lot of people do.
Right.
A lot of people do. And because like Magic Johnson was not a killer or a ultra competitor in your words. He was not. He was a benevolent king, however you said that. You know what I mean? But hell, he got the mother effing job done every time he was asked to get it done. In more cases than not. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was not.
Oh no, not at all.
was not a ultra instinct killer.
I would rate Magic Johnson higher on the competitive scale than Kareem.
Yeah, and Kareem is my GOAT. I think he's the greatest basketball player to ever
That's your goat?
put a ball in a hoop.
Really?
Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I thought you were a Wilt guy.
I mean, I can't argue for Wilt is my favorite player of all time.
Okay.
I do think he's the best player to ever play in the NBA. But the greatest, you have to throw accolades in there and all of that shit. So just being by sports definition, you know, Kareem is my GOAT. You know,
Wow, I didn't know that until
Wilt
now.
is my boat.
Your boat.
He's my boat, best of all time.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So you're still on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Don't forget we're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We got some NFL divisions to preview, but first let's get to some interesting stories here that's happening in the world. All right. I thought this was interesting. Texas Roadhouse under fire over racist Facebook group featuring servers allegedly, they did admit to tampering with and spitting in black people's food. So yeah, there's this big Facebook group with Texas Roadhouse servers and cooks and stuff like that all across the U.S. So it's a lot of hundreds of thousands. I think they had the number on there of people that are part of this group. All white people. So it's whatever.
The group's all white people.
Yeah.
They don't have a single black person in the group.
Not from what I read.
Okay.
Not from what I read.
That's wild.
And which I would find it hard to. I mean, maybe a black person snuck in there at the end, and that's why this got exposed.
Well,
they were operating for a while.
I was going to say that is. So I was going to say this: anybody that they can connect to saying that they did this should immediately be fired. Hands down, no question. Now, because the origin of the group is race-based, I would go another tier and say anybody belonging to that group should be completely fired.
No matter what job you're in.
No matter what job you're in. Because here's the deal. If you just had like a community of Texas Roadhouse workers on Facebook, that's whatever. And again,
fine.
Black people, Hispanic, all sorts of people work at the Roadhouse. And then in some chats or some things, there kind of develops this racist lane of this conduct. Then I'm going to isolate those people. But if you're in a group and it's like only white people and this is the content and you're still a member and haven't checked out, fire them.
Yeah.
And I like Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
They have great rolls. They have nice steaks. I've gone there. I'm going to consider not ever going again.
Yeah, I got something on that. But secondly, I've been I was added to a racist white group one time just for comedic purposes.
Wait.
Because at this point,
for your comedic purposes or somebody else's?
for mine, my cousin added.
Okay.
Just so what happened was there was this white racist group on Facebook. Not Texas Roadhouse, but just a general one.
Okay.
And I guess a black person found out about it and started adding, and so every black person. So now it's damn near half and half because it went viral.
Oh, you're still in it?
And so what black people were doing was they were just making like funny posts, like this place is more dark now, or something. Just a bunch of jokes about black people taking over the group. And which hilarious. So they had a bunch of hilarious stuff in it, and then the white people were mad up under the comments and stuff like that.
What were they coming back? This is awesome.
You guys just want to take over everything. That's just what you do. We can't have anything to ourselves.
Football, basketball, tennis, golf, and now this group. I've had enough.
A black person commented that on their own post. But yeah. So it was funny to that regard. I didn't post anything.
What was ostensibly, what was the group's name and stated purpose?
White power something.
Oh, it was just straight. It was just
Yeah.
We're the Klan.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Which is funny that it didn't get flagged, but I guess none of those words are whatever. White power something, whatever. And so that's that. Now, when I hear the story, my mind next goes to so how does Texas Roadhouse survive this? because there's already been a reported like huge drop in sales and things like that, and
Like immediate with the release of the story.
yeah.
Okay.
And so how do they survive? That is one avenue, right? You go on there, you see, but the problem is once this goes viral and gets out, a lot of the smart whites will remove themselves from the group, right? So you have that. So you're not going to catch everybody, but that is an avenue. You fire everybody part of the group.
Well, to me, for like based on the survival, like is part of that plan is we are now aware of this and we are taking proactive action. This is not who we are. This is not what we stand for, and everybody in this group has been let go. Like that's part of the rebuild for me.
Yeah. Now, if the Texas Roadhouse, and say for example, if these sales continue on a decline, and you face yourself with a like, damn, we may go under type of thing, right?
Yeah.
You have to do something drastic, and so I've come up with some
Couple of ideas.
crazy out there ideas. Now this is under the pretense that they could go under because of this story. Number one, I don't know, maybe fire every white person you have to make us, just fully clean house that way, and not to say to hire all black people, but just to redo your hiring. Hire someone like Bubba. You gotta you hire a black
CEO or
not even that, but
Chief
somebody
officer.
in an area to where they can do the hiring, to redo your hiring and all of that stuff, right? From an HR point of view.
Okay.
Another thing you could do is not fire every white person that you have, but maybe come up with some sort of, this is for lack of better terms here, black reparations for Texas Roadhouse style. So I don't know.
What would that look like?
All black people eat free in the month of February, or for a week, or for a day, or something. I don't know, but something like
But
that.
if you still got those whites in the back, you're still going to be concerned. Like, you gave me a free steak with somebody's spit in it.
All of these come. Well, this one definitely comes with you got to you fire everyone from that group. So you try to say, hey, we fired everyone that had association with that group. We're doing this for black people. You eat free on this day, or half off for this month, or whatever you do, right? And
you and your family eat free on your birthday.
something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're still trying to.
Please present black card upon arrival.
Yeah, your children may have to, I don't know, but however they do it. But I think that's I don't know, but something drastic is going to have to be done outside of, because I don't know if that does the trick. If you just fire everyone, and I'm saying from a black person's point of view of, do I want to go back to this restaurant or not? That's what
For
I'm
sure.
saying.
Yeah. No,
Not as far as, because you might catch everybody that was part of the group. I don't know.
You may not.
Technology is
and
a
again,
motherfucker. I don't
there's you will have lost a certain percentage of black customer base that you're
Anyway.
never getting back.
Yeah. Anyway.
But what I'm saying is you need to react quickly.
Man.
React with a strong position, and literally firing everybody in the group.
Because what they're doing right
is
now
pretty strong.
is super weak. They're just
What
saying-
do they do? Have they actually announced anything? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they came out with a couple of statements like, "Oh, this doesn't portray us in any
well,
way,
prove
shape,
it.
or form."
Like, let these people go.
Something. Yeah. Something needs to be done. That needs to be the first thing that happens. If nothing else happens, that has to happen, right?
Yeah.
And you have to make it known in public, and this, and that. Maybe even, I don't know,
'Cause it-
release the names. Are you with that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, you get a kill list.
Out of it.
Yeah.
I should have asked that.
This list is for hunting purposes only. No problem with that.
But that's ridiculous. I worked in food service. I worked with my first job ever was McDonald's. Worked with Pollo Tropical. Yeah,
There's no like. If you're a black person, there is no way you could walk into a Roadhouse right now.
and be comfortable. Yeah,
Because literally you don't know who's in the group and who's not, and,
Right.
or who's now. Because there's going to be white people that maybe they didn't even know about the group, But now they're like, oh yeah, good idea. And so you like mobilize the sleeper cell of spitters.
Right.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Moving along here. What else did I have for you here? Okay. Our Facebook post of the day comes from this here. This girl posted this, and the guy says, "Damn, girl, you fine." And she's like, "You can't even see me," with the an eye emoji rolling her eyes. And that's the picture that she posted there, with just her backside in a gym or something. And
Antonio saw all he needed to see.
he saw all he needed.
Yeah.
What else is there that need to be seen? Now, what's funny,
What's funny is if she was a trans person and was packing some lumber on the other side of that picture, then old Antonio might have some second guessing to do.
Now that's some real comedy there. I go to a gym, I see, you see that, especially that type of outfit. I see that. I don't know what those are called, but you see those a lot. I guess those are
Nice
just shorts. But I see leggings that make the booty look like that too.
They go all the way down to the ankle or whatever below.
Yeah.
The knee,
Now, but when you're wearing stuff like that, what is the goal? Like, because are you really just going? And I'm not even talking about. It's hard, man, because you don't want. I don't want to be Stephen A. Smith. And so
Stop mentioning him, he'll go away.
I'm saying I don't want to be like, you're talking about black women. But this is women in general, because I see a lot of white women. Okay, so I'm safe. I see a lot of white women wearing those too, especially in my gym.
Carry on.
Right? And so it's like, okay, what is the goal? Are you just wearing something to be comfortable in, and you're just, and that is the thing? Or are you looking for attention? Because you know what your shape looks like in certain things. Because some women I see come to the gym, they have the sweater wrapped around. Now, I'm not a fan of that either. But that's, that's
Make
the
no
thing.
mistake, we both are a fan of whatever,
Yes, I'm definitely a fan.
whatever was in Antonio's sightlines.
You see girls come in with like just looser fitting things. They just come in to work out and do their thing. But and not even just for the gym purpose. If she's out and about and wearing it, what is, because guys are going to, guys, a lot of guys are into ass. Just, you're no different than the women who are wearing push-up bras and no bras that have big titties. And you know what people are going to.
It is interesting because, like, I've talked to women who go to the gym, and I've talked to some women that actually choose not to go to the gym
because
they're attractive, and their experience has been that if I'm working out, something's gonna happen. Some dude is gonna magically need to work out right next to me, or or continues to get water near where something will happen. And some women, kind of realize that, and it's like, I don't even want to be in the gym if this is what it's about.
Some dudes are weird.
They continue, and it's just kind of like a cost of doing business for them, that they realize these guys are going to act up, and they just got to keep their head down and work. So I don't know. I mean, like, to me, you're beyond naive if you don't think that type of clothing is going to attract some attention. So do you want the attention, or do you not want it? But again, women are not always connected to reality, and so they could have a disconnect where it's like, I'm wearing workout clothes, I'm here to work out, this is what I'm doing, and not really get that this is going to attract some attention.
Because if you post the picture, you posted the picture, this guy didn't go and steal your phone and post it, you posted the picture, your face is not in the picture. What kind of comments are you expecting? I guess is what. Yeah,
actually, that's another level.
I guess it's what I'm really trying to get
it's
to.
one. Yeah, because I was kind of operating in the premise of a woman chooses to wear this clothes and go have their workout.
Right.
It's another level to say, I'm going to take a picture of myself in these clothes.
There you go.
And then post this to
that's what I'm
my
trying
social
to. That's what I'm trying to get.
When
to.
you're doing that, you're definitely doing it for attention.
Okay.
I don't think there's another way to explain around that.
Right.
It's just like, hey, we get it. They're workout clothes. You work out, but now I'm posting this picture. Yeah, you're doing it for attention.
I don't know what else
could be had. And he didn't even like say anything crazy. Damn, girl, you fine. That's you fine.
Yeah.
What's the problem? A lot of guys come in way harder than that.
Who says there's a problem? I mean,
Damn, girl, I love to eat your ass. What's for dinner?
I was wondering what's for dinner. I think I found it. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong here. I mean, if you, and that's one of those things, like whatever it is that you are about, if this is you, or if you're, somebody who's going to post a bunch of pictures with your dog, like everybody's got their lane. But if you're posting consistent content in this space, this is what you are. This is what you're here for.
Just embrace it.
Yeah. And if you're not comfortable with that, then delete and find some other lane.
There you go. I agree.
What do you think the odds are she has an OnlyFans?
Super low. Yeah, I do think
I was gonna say 45%.
No, I think OnlyFans women, they do live in reality. I think
okay,
and they would welcome that. Matter of fact, she would have sent him her link.
Oh, that's probably true.
Hey, you can find more here.
Find more,
and maybe I won't be wearing these blue shorts over here. Wouldn't you like to see what's under that?
Yeah,
window, guy.
Okay, fair enough. Well played, Bubba.
There you go. I think these things through when it comes to that type of
stuff.
Okay, let's get back to some football here. I thought I had one more. Oh, yeah, I do have one more. I do. Okay, so Ravens Rashod Bateman. So I guess we are kind of getting back to football here. His baby mama, Marissa, says she lied about him assaulting her, faked her injuries, just wanted to get him in trouble.
We've seen this before.
Seen it all before.
But this, and you've spoken passionately on this before.
Yeah.
Like, there should be a criminal sanction to this.
There just has to be.
There should be, I know, like a false prosecution or almost like malicious prosecution. Charge against you for making these lies up, and I'd rate it a felony.
Especially
when it's conduct I would never do.
You mean as the guy?
Well, just said, me. Like, it's easy to say, well, hey, if it's something I'm never going to do, let's punish the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Like, if it's something.
You say.
If it's something I might, find myself doing. Like, hey, let's chill a bit, How about a fine? Like Jed.
Yeah, Jed.
All right, Jed's not pushing the death penalty for prostitution.
No,
like, come on,
man.
Let's be realistic.
No, but what I was going to say is, yes, come up with some type of penalty for, especially if it's a guy who's like in the NFL and like a guy who has a lot to lose, not just big sports figures. It could be whatever, but because, you lose way more just off allegations, because once the allegations come out, the society tends to believe it and believe the woman, no matter what. Now, of course, you're going to have guys like us who question it and whatever. And even though Tory Lanez has been in jail for however long, we still question it. So, but the larger sector of society and that alone makes a difference in their employers and how they treat the situation. So how the NFL or how Baltimore Ravens, if the society is going crazy over it, you know what I mean? Well, hey, guy, we got to, contracts coming up, or we got to cut you, or we got to, you can't make this amount of money. Oh, endorsements, say that goodbye during this long time. So you lose, it's so much to lose.
No, what I'm thinking of, though, is the Malcolm Gladwell book, Blink. And it really deals with, like, psychologically, like, what your first impression is of something, and or like how your own expectations like merge with a first impression. If you have an expectation and it kind of like had like a quarterback, and so there was certainly a point in time when all the quarterbacks were white, and like you say quarterback and you immediately start conjuring 6'3", white dude, certain swagger to him, whatever, and it takes a long time for that to unset itself. and to say, well, no, think of quarterback. I think of Lamar. I think of, Kyler Murray. I think of all these other prototypes of guys, and so that basic psychological principle comes out. Like you see, your feed hits Rashod Bateman, whatever, injured girlfriend, blah blah blah. You automatically start formulating that blink instant opinion. Oh man, what's up with this guy? And to unwind that is very difficult because you've already basically created a psychological reaction to him, and then you have to take all this other information in, and then you're still bringing that information in against your first opinion, against your initial impression. So you kind of almost have to reach a point where you overcome that to then see from a fresh slate, a fresh view. And I think that's in terms of what you're saying, that's kind of what happens, and that's why that initial story carries much longer than the follow-up. As far as that goes.
Yeah, because this is barely even being talked about now. But what they need to do is they need to start locking these holes up. That's basically what they need to start doing. And I talked about this before too. I hate the way some women fight back or fight. Period. Or when something happens, that disagreement in the household, and who knows what he could have did. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he had other girls, or maybe something. But this is just ridiculous. You got a guy in the NFL. You got a baby from him, whether y'all together or not. You set for life, and you guys have a disagreement, and you go as far as injuring yourself, and doing all this and lying. Now, what will your child say when he gets of age or she gets of age, and they can see this story? What are they going to think of you? Not much.
And that's the thing. In days past, when this stuff doesn't go through social media so quickly, everyone could kind of just avoid the topic and not talk about it. We've seen a ton of shows and movies where some secret from the past emerges later, but everyone's been trying to suppress the secret or real reality. But now it's a simple Google search of something like that. As your kid gets a little older, they get access to this. And then again, if you weren't forthcoming originally, now you've put yourself in a position where you're now the lying parent. And then they're looking at you you lied to me when this happened, now you're trying to explain it away or what. No, I don't trust you. I don't believe you. I don't need you around me. It's really perilous. Again, you do this, you create this thing that you should be punished for. You also imperil a person's employment, which if you have a child with that person, you have an incentive for that other person to stay employed at a good level. Because that money's going to benefit your kid, and to be honest, most likely you, as far as that goes.
And then I know what a lot of women don't understand is not every player is in the NFL like another player. Rashod Bateman is not entrenched in the NFL like a Jamar Chase. They play the same position, but Bateman is much closer to out of the league than he is all-pro receiver. For sure. Allegations like this can wipe him out because he's replaceable. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's replaceable. He's a third, fourth receiver type of guy, and you know what I mean. And so that's another thing too. I know whatever, she's an NFL guy, I can get some money off of this on top of the child support, this and that. But you gotta understand, you hustled up on the wrong guy. You gotta knock on Jamar Chase's door if you want all of that, you know, and Justin Jefferson and these guys, man.
No, that's true too. That is true. There was one other thought I had on that. I mean, it was a little bit reminiscent. I mean, it wasn't in the criminal scale, but remember that dude for the Spurs, the announcer guy?
Yeah.
And then the girl hijacks his thing, and didn't that guy end up losing his job?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things. For what? Come on now.
Yeah, the announcer guy, whatever. Yeah. No, for sure. And you know what's funny? The YouTube commenter commented us talking trash about us, talking about you guys just don't understand the professional world. You can't do that, and it don't matter what she did. And I'm like, man, I didn't even respond. I just liked the comment and kept going. Let's
wait back on the Spurs story.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On that Spurs story. Yeah. You can go back and catch the comment if you want.
All right.
NFC West, AFC West. Let's start with the NFC West. Okay, we have the reigning Super Bowl champ. We have whatever's left of the Arizona Cardinals, 49ers, and prostitution, and you have the Rams, who are the darlings of the NFL as far as people are putting all of their money on the Rams to win this thing. So this is an interesting division. What do you take of it?
I mean, you have two teams that project to be among the best teams in football in the same division with the Rams in Seattle. And then the 49ers are good. Yeah. Like, you know, they're not garbage. They're a playoff caliber team. They've been to Super Bowls in recent history. And so in some ways it might be the strongest division in the league, not 1-4, but in these three are as good as any three in a division we can find. And so I think that's where you are. The Cardinals are obviously just kind of a lost team. Yeah. And, you know, whatever, they're inconsequential. But those top three teams are very, very good, particularly Seattle and the Rams. And I think that that's, for me, one of the strongest divisions in football. And one of those things where obviously, you know, two of those teams are going to lose the division and potentially be in some sort of wild card setup, which potentially creates a really tough game for somebody early in the playoffs.
For another division leader.
Right, you know.
For the NFC South.
Let's say the Rams nip the Seahawks by a game, you know, and now, you know, somebody's got to play the Seahawks really early. And you've had a nice little year, and welcome to Seattle.
Yeah, well, yeah. Facts. I totally agree. You know, with Arizona, who's fighting for that quarterback job? Is it Brissett?
Well, Brissett, he had a little contract issue, but Carson Beck has, contrary to my belief in the world, has played pretty well.
In the preseason.
Yeah, played well in the preseason.
Yeah.
You still have the conundrum of Harrison Jr. Like, you know,
and he's had a underwhelming camp.
Said. You know, and he's kind of, at this point, we've kind of tried everything.
Might be a blown.
We've tried we tried to boost our confidence. Now we've gone with a little muscle. Like, what's the plan here? You're out of things, you know.
Yeah. No, 100%. And then with Seattle, what's funny is they won the Super Bowl last year, and it's like nobody's really talking about them, and they just don't have the characters that are like exciting or that you want to talk about. They don't have any battles going on. They don't have any exciting characters. They really don't even play exciting football. It's a defensive first team. Okay, their defense was lights out last year. The MVP of their team is now on Kansas City and Kenneth Walker. So you don't even have that. So you just have like this blue collar team.
But I felt like that's exactly what they were last year. Like, they won games and whatever, but like you're going through the regular season and like, oh, they're in the playoffs, but they're Seattle. And then the playoff games start going, and then you're kind of like, who can beat these guys? Yeah. Like on both ends of the field, they're tough. Like, they're not making mistakes. Like, they're really tough to beat. And every other team, you're kind of like, well, I like this about the Rams, but I don't like this. I like this about, you know, whoever. Buffalo.
Yeah, especially like you said, especially last year. Now, I will say remember, Seattle was my dark horse team, but even then, I had them as a dark horse. So
yeah,
they were they were in the shadows.
And I mean, Walker's going to be a big loss, but again, they're going to also have that thing where, like, they believe through what they've done. Yeah, like they have a higher level of confidence that we're really good.
No, they created a culture over there. They created a culture. And that's why all these teams have hopes when they, you know, change over the coaching staffs and front office, because it can happen with the right group of guys. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Because Seattle, you know, once the Legion of Doom and Russ left, Seattle was in the same place, damn near where Arizona is at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they were just kind of treading around. Just there. They had some seasons with Geno that never really amounted to anything dangerous. And then, you know, then they get Sam Darnold out there, and it all kind of comes together.
Now with the 49ers, really quick, you know, they especially the last couple of years and this year too, it's going to be like injuries. If they have a good injury season, they'll have a good season. If not, they're going to have another middling to bad season. And that's the same thing this year. They already have a nice amount of injuries already.
Yeah.
Then you got the Florida receiver. I don't know if he's ever going to get on the field. He had a setback in camp.
Right. And McCaffrey's always just
McCaffrey's
week
always
to week.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're tough. I mean, but again, they kind of. I know they have, did they have to pay? They paid Purdy or no? He still
Yeah, they paid Purdy.
But they had they had Trent Williams, they had McCaffrey, they had Fred Warner.
Yeah.
They had a lot of high end individual players, Bosa brother, that they pay a lot to, and that's why they don't necessarily have great depth. And so when those foundational pieces get dinged up, the drop off's pretty dramatic.
And they got so lucky because they overcame a terrible high pick, and that's hard to overcome in short order in the NFL with Trey Lance. That's hard, man. They got extremely lucky with Purdy. And then when we move over to the Rams, who I just from everything, this is who I have to pick to win the division just because that's where all the noise is at. That's you got Aaron Donald completing a second tryout or something, whatever workout. I don't think, of course, it's not a tryout, but I thought one was going to be enough. But
that is interesting that there's
seconds.
even a second sort of workout like that without a decision being made.
Yeah.
To me, if you're Aaron Donald and you got yourself, fit enough or whatever that you're stepping out into that, tryout practice setting, I can't imagine you're gonna back away from that.
Yeah, you're already there.
It's like that thing, like don't put yourself in temptation. Like if you're like, if maybe you had a little inkling in your mind when they made the Garrett trade, maybe I'll come back or whatever. Like, think on it a little bit, and then unless you're serious, just give it a no.
No. Like I know not to hang out with Jed York, man. I'm weak. I'm a weak man. I'll be in the passenger seat googling up spots. Hey, man, we went over here yet? But
Bubba's downloading the app. He's ready to tear up that trailer park.
I'm gonna do all the dirty work for my boy York, for my boy Jed, man. But
as long as he spots you the 140.
Exactly.
What if Jed only broke you off 100?
Cheap bastard.
He doesn't want you to have the same experience he does.
Right.
You don't get the true GFE.
He's 3-hole Jed. I have to be 2-hole Bubba for 100. But I agree with the Aaron Donald piece of it all. But once you add him to the mix, because we both assume he's going to play. Now, so far, I think Ty's played pretty good in the preseason as well. Now, you got to give it to him. He's played pretty well, and I'm going to die on that hill of I think it was a good pick because they did so much work in the offseason. Addressing their two needs in that defensive backfield. I mean, and all of that stuff. So we'll see. We'll see where the Rams lie. The NFL is different than the NBA as far as you could say that the Rams are sort of building a super team, but the problem is you have to survive the season and playoffs.
Yeah, attrition is a huge factor.
Attrition is a huge factor, and that really does matter a lot. And hard to overcome in those top positions there. No, that's for sure. Who do you have winning officially?
I'll go with the Rams.
Go with the Rams too, right? Yeah. What was I going to say here before? Before I forget, the last thing I really liked about that Rod Wave interview with Shannon, he was talking about Bryce Young, because I had forgot or didn't know at all that when Bryce Young first got benched, he reached out to Rod Wave.
Really?
Yeah, and Rod kind of talked him off the ledge, if you will, because that what's funny about that is he is the younger generation. Of course, Bryce is young and all of that, but his music is more of that, not so much motivational, but a lot of people say it's sad because he's talking about overcoming things and his issues and his problems. That's kind of his music, his lane. So kind of fit with what Bryce Young was going through at the moment. They reached out, had a conversation, talked about it, and Rob was just saying some of the things he was telling him about, hey, you already won in life, you just gotta, whatever, your time is gonna come around. Your time is gonna come around again. You know what I mean? Don't worry about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Did they have prior relationship
No,
at all?
not at all.
Oh wow, just a cold call.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
interesting.
at all, not at all. He just whatever.
Wasn't your boy Tyrese Maxey slamming Bryce's girl?
I don't know if I know that.
Oh, I do. I thought that was part of the dynamic.
Maxie's joining the long list. Now, at least he's going a different sport, guys, girl. Like most of the NBA guys, they recycle other
Same,
NBA
yeah.
guys, girls.
Yeah.
So at least he's doing a cross sport thing, whatever.
Yeah, safe ground over there. I don't know.
Yeah. He got he's making more money than those NFL guys. So
But if you're Bryce, does it really matter?
if Tyrese smashing
If
your
it's
girl?
Tyrese or it's Miles Garrett, like what difference does it make to
Oh
you?
yeah, or Bubba.
Or a deep wound. Oh, Bubba.
Across the pond here, we have the AFC West. Okay.
Across the pond.
Across the pond.
AFC West is going to be playing from London and Manchester this year?
Hey,
Like,
some
what's
games.
going on? Okay.
We have my team, the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Denver Broncos, Oakland Raiders, Chargers. They all have interesting storylines to me. All
It
have
feels
interesting
like,
storylines.
Denver went the farthest last year.
Won the division, went
won
the
the
farthest.
division, went into the playoffs a bit. So on paper they'd be a favorite, but I have to, I hate Sean Payton, and I have to discount that. But I don't know. I think it's if you don't buy into Denver, I think it's pretty wide open.
Yeah, and it's that way because of the Mahomes ACL injury. The wide receiver core, who still has yet to solidify themselves in 3 to 4 years, and I don't know what to get out of this defense. We're gonna have a complete new secondary, a secondary that it wasn't like it was the world beaters last year.
Yeah.
We have a aging defensive line star in Chris Jones, who we're still paying a ton of money to.
Yeah.
Then we have our aging, catcher of the ball in Travis Kelce.
Catcher of the ball.
And so it's like, what I know is we're not going to get like elite production out of Kelce or out of Chris. And that hurts the team because how much money they make. But they've been, I'm not screaming for them to leave either because they've been integral parts to what we're doing here.
And there's no ready replacement. When I look at the Chiefs, I guess the biggest thing I kind of ask myself, obviously, is how does Pat come back? When does he come back? And what does he look like?
Yeah.
That's number one. The number two thing I keep it like, what do the Chiefs look like with the Kenneth Walker having a 1,400 rushing yard season?
Because we haven't had that in a long time.
No, it's a changer. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big changer
yeah.
to everything, because it's not something that's really ever been a part of the modern Chiefs formula.
Yeah.
And so if you have a guy that puts together a season like that, I think that really they'll be very tough to beat. Because if for him to have that type of year, you're controlling clock and all that things, which diminishes pressure on defense. And again, when I love the Chiefs defensive coordinator.
Oh, Spags. Yeah,
Spags,
man.
but especially if you've got teams having to play from behind and be a bit aggressive, where he can load up with the blitzes and with almost impunity.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. If you're able to play in a way where they, with Walker, with Mahomes, they're eating a lot of clock, they're managing games and kind of putting the defense in favorable spots, even though it might not be the most talented Chiefs defense. I think that's a pretty good formula for them to be very competitive in that division.
Now, for all fantasy football guys, I will say one name that you want to keep hot and ready is Cyrus Allen. And he's been the best receiver in camp, in preseason, and is not close. Now, Rashid Rice came back, and he's on paper going to be the number one receiver. But he's had a really bad camp, and he just hasn't been able to get it right. Matter of fact, just 2 days ago, a story was released about Eric Bieniemy just laying into him. You got to wake the F up. What's going on? because he is a lot better than what he's been out, putting out in camp. And the Chiefs haven't really played any of their stars, if you will, in preseason. Kent Walker got a few snaps here and there, but not so much really. So they've been resting those guys. But Cyrus Allen is a name you wanna catch. He's gonna rack up some yards.
Yeah.
Now Denver, yeah, man, they won the division last year. I think they went 14-2 or something like that, whatever. 14-3,
yeah,
high record. Defensive first team. They have probably the best secondary in the league, top 3, top 5, and they're able to win. I saw this article yesterday about, there was about a 7-game stretch where Bo Nix was a bottom 5 quarterback, but they went 7-0.
Damn.
And so they're able to win even in spite of Bo Nix, right? So Bo Nix is not the greatest, but the team is so good around him to where, if he makes any type of, improvement, step up, this team could be really dangerous.
And the step up for him would largely be consistency.
Yeah.
Because there are games when he's very good, better than I ever thought he'd play.
100%.
And then he is still prone to some poor games. So if he can find a higher floor without, dropping the ceiling, that'll be a big upgrade for them.
100%.
And then we have the enigmatic Bo Callahan / Justin Herbert.
Well, the Chargers are similar to the 49ers in the sense of they always have these injuries that they harp on. But just not from their main guys. It'd be from their role players. So they have their main offensive lineman. He's out for the season. That just happened like last week. So they're starting to ramp up in that way. But yeah, man, you got old Prince Darling over there, Justin Herbert, who it's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressure on him. The league loves him as far as analysts and other owners, GMs or whatever. They always rate him high. He has the live arm. He's tall. He's
he looks the part for sure.
He's in love. He's on the sidelines, having picnics.
And you've got Harbaugh, who's a good coach.
I like Harbaugh.
And a quirky guy, but if you recall, it took him a little while to get things where he wanted at Michigan. He couldn't get over the hump with Ohio State at one point. He got smashed in the playoffs by Georgia and Kirby, and eventually, right before he left, they kind of put it all together and won. And so it wasn't immediate when he went to the Chargers, but he's kind of shown in his makeup that he's there.
They've been getting a little better each year.
Yeah, and that's kind of consistent with what he does. And so he may not be a quick fix guy, but when he does build something, he builds it strong.
Yeah.
And so there is, some reason for optimism there. I just think Herbert's an empty suit, and I wouldn't leverage him or balance anything on him that I cared about.
Yeah. Now he'll put up some numbers though.
Yeah,
I don't believe in him.
Yeah, he'll have probably a handful of games that make him look like as good as anybody in football. But when it matters most, I don't think he gets it done. And I don't know, it's so much, and maybe I need to adjust my thinking on this, but when you look at this division, it's if Pat's still healthy and it's a meaningful game, I'm still riding with him. I'd probably ride Denver second. I don't believe in the Chargers when it matters. And the Raiders are still kind of a work in progress.
Yeah, they're in a rebuild, but they'll be better than last year.
They'll be better than last year, and they could maybe show some things. And if Mendoza, shows some progression, but I just don't think. I think they're moving in the right direction, but I just don't think it's close enough to a payoff to say that they're going to do anything this year.
Yeah. We'll see. The thing, the Mahomes thing. I know it's something I wanted to. Yeah, he's by far and away the best quarterback in the division. But the problem is each team in the division, including the Raiders, unfortunately, they have just more talent around their quarterback. And so, in football, I believe that when it's something like that, those other teams just have an advantage because of that. Now this year, the Chiefs have increased the talent. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they draft the Cyrus Allen, who's looked good so far. They come out and get a Kenneth Walker in free agency. So Delaney, who's the top 5 pick, top 6 when we traded up cornerback. So we'll see what these new guys can do. But just from coming off of last few years, we just been so depleted as far as not having enough talent around Mahomes. So we'll see how this new talent comes. I almost wanted to have another like down year. Now a lot of that comes with the loser in me and the trust the process and all of that.
The loser in you.
But I really believe we needed one more round of high picks, whatever it is, top 5 picks, and to really infuse this team. Because I mean, it looks sad in a lot of ways when you get to a lot of these skill positions.
You're in that weird place though, like where like the time, like you're fighting timelines. You know, you got like the Kelsey Jones, like you're trying to squeeze the last bit of contention out of them. Pat's kind of in the middle, but like we do have to say, like, have we already seen the best of Pat Mahomes?
And see, and that's a legitimate question that mainstay media is asking. But what I'm saying is, I think that's an impossible question to ask and answer because we haven't seen the talent around him like we did in the beginning of his career. And I'm saying nowhere close. And you just have to have that as quarterback. I mean, our offensive line was like years better with younger career. He had much better receiving threats in his younger career. Like everything was night and day. And so I think that we need to see that first. And in order to see that first, the problem with that is, like you said, the two timelines things, Chris and Travis is going to have to go because you're going to have to free up more money. Like if we, we got Ken over here, but if we wanted to get a good receiver in free agency, we wouldn't be able to. You know what I mean? So we had to, so we drafted a guy with our third round pick, and hopefully he fits the moniker there. But yeah, man. So yeah, it's just and we've been unlucky too because we draft the other receiver in the first round, Xavier Worthy. And
he hasn't been much. Yeah,
it hasn't been much. Hopefully, we were hoping that he could be the next Tyreek Hill, whatever. But that hasn't worked out. So that's the thing.
No, I definitely, but I think that highlights the thing. Like, there's a scenario where you would kind of, trade or Kelsey and Jones or whatever, and then just try to go young and talent and all that, and just kind of rebuild. But keeping them, it's kind of tough to do that. It definitely. They've always in the receiver spot, like whether it was like Hopkins or like Juju, the early younger guys haven't quite been good enough, or they've been in too much trouble to carry the load, and then they'll kind of usually stumble upon a veteran option at some point in the process that just has never really connected in a huge way.
No, for sure. So I have Kansas City, of course, winning the division. And you said you did too.
Yeah. And I would say Denver, Chargers, and the Raiders in the back.
What's up, Ab? Appreciate you. The last thing I wanted to discuss here is, I almost forgot about it earlier. Just really quick on the Klay Thompson thing. Klay Thompson
signing with the Heat.
Signs with the Heat. And then you have some discourse. You got Draymond coming out today and just arguing with random people about number one, he was saying how people are setting Klay up because of they people may want the 2017 Klay, and he's going to look much different. So he's not sure if he fits.
That's Draymond's words.
Yeah, and he's not sure if he fits Miami Heat because he likes to go by his own beat of his drum, and Miami Heat has his culture. But even a few days before this, Klay had a Instagram or Twitter moment with a random person, and did you see that?
No,
they had a back and forth. So the guy was comparing Klay Thompson and Ray Allen. And he was saying how Ray Allen is way better because he had his own team, in Seattle or whatever.
Yeah.
And Klay has never been the number one on the team, and this and look at him now, and this is not Ray Allen. Okay. And so and Klay chimed in on that and replied, and he never mentioned Ray Allen or even referenced him or dissed him or anything. What he was just saying was, people forget that I was the second leading scorer on 2 of those championship teams. Even before KD got there, you can't diminish what I've done. That's the route that he took.
Right.
But the guy, every time the guy responded, he was like, "Yeah, but Ray Allen did this, and that, and you didn't." And he was just like, "Yeah, but and Klay will come back, but yeah, you can't diminish my career. I did this and that. You guys just want me to what? Do a bunch of stats on a bad team, score a bunch of points on a bad team. I could do that too, but that's too easy." I think that sometimes it's damn near impossible to compare 2 basketball players, even if they play the same. I think it's impossible to compare and contrast and have a real conversation about who's better out of Klay Thompson and Ray Allen. And a lot of that does have to do with we didn't see Klay in his prime as a number 1 player, right? So we don't have that experience to draw from. Now, I do believe that Klay was good enough to be a number 1 player on a team. He was a great 2-way player. Not saying that the team would have won. Ray Allen, as a number 1 player, didn't win.
Right.
So I'm not saying he would have won, but I'm saying is I do think Klay was good enough to be on an NBA basketball team and be the number 1 guy, be the highest scorer, and he's a 2-way player, so he would have been the best player. So it's impossible to compare those two because all you're going to have is, because they both were on championship teams. I believe Klay's defense was better, but you can probably argue things from Ray Allen's side on that. And Ray Allen was better later in his career, but when you're comparing players, I think most of us compare the primes, right?
Yeah, but for the reasons you just kind of outlined, like Ray Allen in his like athletic prime coming into the league out of UConn, went to a situation where he could kind of try to do everything that he could do, and that was what that team needed, and he did it. But at the end of the day, that team didn't win anything. Klay came out and kind of melded into this rising dynasty. And he did his part. He did it on both ends of the floor. He did it in the big moments, game 6s and all that. And so you can't assail what he did. And then you kind of go to the back part of the career. That's, Ray Allen goes to Boston, has a lot of success there, but as 3rd, 4th guy. And then he goes to Miami he hit one of the legendary shots in basketball history, but like he was a bench guy and who filled a very specific role. And Ray Allen never suffered 2 years of catastrophic injury in his career. And that's what Klay had to deal with. And so to have like a point by point comparison, it's just not going to work.
Not going to work.
It's, there were environmental circumstances that each guy had that the other guy did not experience, for better or for worse. And it's kind of pointless to go too far into that.
It just is so pointless. So I can't understand why this is the conversation Klay decided to interject himself.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really weird. But I know it's at a time where it's a lot of, I guess, with the signing and whatnot. I don't know why.
Klay is like what's made him like a treasure is like his personality and the way he goes about things, and it's different than most other stars, and that's part of the thing. And he's had kind of he's shown you his hard work through his performance, through overcoming injury, and he has great pride about what he's done in the game. But he also kind of has like a whimsical part of himself that ride around in the boat and even to a degree have a laugh at himself. But I think because he balances those two things, the hard work, and particularly over the, since the injuries, like a really rough road, and being kind of like a free-spirited guy, he kind of fights that internally. And I could just see where, like, he was in the mood that day.
Yeah.
He came upon it, and he's thinking, and it's like, I've done a lot in this game.
Yeah.
And this guy doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell him. I just think that's Klay. That's kind of the uniqueness of him. It's not something he does, like, all the time, but I just think that's part of his personality, part of his competitiveness.
He is going to become one of those guys, though, like Vince Carter, like all these guys that played just too long, because we haven't seen Klay play good basketball in a long time. I remember 3-4 years ago, when he was at the end of the Warriors stint, we were like, damn, this he's just not looking good.
His last good basketball was the last title.
Yeah.
He was, but he wasn't great. He wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that was after 2 years of horrible injury.
Yeah.
And so he's never been great after the injury. He was good during that last title season, and after that, he's kind of phased out his last year with the Warriors, and then again, Dallas was a waste because he went there for one thing and got another.
Yeah.
He went there to be a spot-up shooter for Luka.
Yeah.
And then, Luka's gone the first half of that season, and he spent a year and a half just kind of trying to find shots on a team that didn't function real cleanly or with real purpose.
Wasn't really looking to win.
Yeah.
And so now this is a tricky spot for him because Miami is going to be a lot of eyes on Miami. Miami is going to be looked upon to win. They got all these, they got Giannis, who was a top 5 player in the league. You got Bam, who scored 83 points. You got all these guys, and the world knows they're signing Klay Thompson to come in and basically be their best shooter. He's going to be their best floor spacer. So he feels a need. So a lot of eyes are going to be on him, and if he plays in a similar fashion to what he's played in these past couple of years, he's going to let a lot of people down, and a lot of people are going to be talking trash about him again. And so that's
the two things. I don't know if he's going to start or not, but I think he should be in more of a limited minutes thing.
Yeah,
and I think again, channeling the Heat, he wants to profile like later career Ray Allen and Mike Miller when he was there.
Those are the roles he needs.
Yeah, and that's a guy, and then hopefully they play with Giannis in a way that's going to get him some clean looks. But maybe he plays 24, 25 minutes a night. But the best case scenario is that he knocks down maybe mid-40s 3-point percentage. And does everything else kind of well enough that he's not a liability, and that's what you had in Mike Miller. That's what you had in Miami Heat Ray Allen.
Yeah,
and there's something to model that after. Now you aren't playing with James Wade and Bosh, you're playing with Giannis and Bam, and it's different. And I understand that it might not be as easy, but I think the highest end is that he's kind of a hybrid of Ray Allen and Mike Miller as Heat players, which was not the peak for either guy.
100%. 100%. All right. Well, that's been the show today. We'll look to have Brad Toomer and those guys on next week. And then the week after, we're supposed to have the Pull-Up podcast coming through.
All right. Pull up or pull out.
See you guys next week.
All right.
Oh, Jesus.
Listen, man, I hit a bitch one time, man, the baby was bouncing all over the bed.
Cut through the texture of pasta, I stretch to the father. My demons can't be stressing my daughter. Sweat Benihana, know it's a rap. Wet enchilada.
Deion Sanders is the greatest football player, arguably, to ever live. Ed Reed, the greatest safety, arguably, to ever live in the entire universe. All right? Why y'all not going on live? Miami been trashed for fucking how long now? God damn.
I like you got on some skates. I like you got on some skates. I like you got on some skates.
I want somebody in the event, something like, say like, I love oxtail. If I can eat some that tastes like oxtails while I'm down there, just for that moment.
He's on my back. You know what I mean? And, I think, I feel like his thing is like on my neck.
I've had 2 guys.
Same time?
No, I'm not that girl.